Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to G420 Portfolio Preparation. My name is Michael Maldonado, and I will be your instructor for the next several weeks. So I just want to kind of show you around the classroom a little bit. I've got this Welcome to Week 1 announcement, and well, for that matter, we've got all these announcements, and I do use announcements quite often. So definitely check this area right here where I usually post, especially in a portfolio class. I'm usually putting a couple things in there per week. Take a look at the stuff that's all directly relevant to what we're doing. So again, that's the announcements area of the course. So try to keep that in mind. Maybe check in there first every day before you get started in the classroom. Okay, syllabus. You guys know where all this stuff is. Academic expectations. I don't need to go through all that. And I just want to. Well, I do want to show you one thing here. Academic expectations. I just want to come over here to late work policy guidelines here. Please read through this, okay? Because I'll abide by this. So please, guys. It's just so easy to shoot yourself in the foot by just not even knowing really the guidelines. So I like to just point this to your attention. And again, that's over here in the academic expectations in the late work guidelines. Just make yourself familiar with that and understand that I'll be adhering to that. So please be on time with your assignments. So this is basically kind of like a welcome to week 1 thing. So, we come in here to week 1. We read this portfolio preparation. And I would read through this. And I'm going to tell you that the reading in the class is so important, yet it's going to be the first thing that you're going to want to skip by when we start getting to crunch time, when the other classes start kicking in, you got appointments and assignments, et cetera, et cetera. So you start thinking, I'm going to cut a little time by maybe, you really want to read this, guys, everything in the class, especially the books, because I'm going to go ahead and tell you that your portfolio is going to be much, much, much more effective if you keep up with the reading. And again, like I said, especially the reading in the books. Well, not both the class and the books. And I've looked at probably well over 10,000 portfolios through the years, and I've been doing this a long time as far as portfolio consulting and teaching portfolio class, as well as portfolio review committee for Cleveland chapter AIGA, where we look at college grad portfolios. So this is not new to me, and I'm pretty familiar with protocols in contemporary portfolio and the expectations that will be out there for your portfolio as a student. I do a lot of consulting for companies around Cleveland here who are looking for graphic designers, whether freelance, subcontract, or any other capacity, whereby I look at the hiring packages and I give my recommendations based on, guess what you're about to learn in the next 6 weeks or so. So that's a pretty cool thing. It really is. So keep that in mind. So that would be my first recommendation, is really, really keep on top of the reading. Okay. It's so important. Okay. Formula for creating a good portfolio. I'm going to say that right now, the main thing I think that you should do in this class is this. I think you should start training yourself to think like an employer. Think about what the employer wants to hear. Okay, we'll get more into that as the weeks develop, but I just want to plant that seed right now. All right, so determining and defining your work. So we have this list, and this is the list of what you are going to be doing and for your portfolio. These are the requirements that the department deems necessary for you to show proficiency in the program objectives and the intended outcomes that you will show through this portfolio. So more on that in a second. Okay, you have your introduction. I'm not really going to have to go through that, although it's not just an introduction. We've got short and long range goals here. Read through that. It makes sense. So does this. Sample of your strengths and weaknesses. And, I don't want to brush over that. I just realized I kind of brushed over. Why do we do this? Why do we sample our 10 strengths and weaknesses? We do this because we need to be able to develop an ability to be able to talk about ourselves, both in good light and not so good light. Because guess what? In every interview, you're going to get that question. You're going to get a surprise question. Can you describe your biggest weakness and tell me about it? And if you're not prepared for that question, then a lot of folks out there are going to think you're not prepared for the job. So food for thought, really important there. So is the material for week 1. I'm sorry. For the week 1, the long and short term goals. That's more for you to keep your personal inventory, to really start a personal inventory and really take a look at it. And I think it's really important for you to keep a journal of your personal long and short range goals, as well as your long and short range career goals, because they'll change. And it's really interesting through the years to read through these. It's not a test. There's no right or wrong. It's just a matter of seeing how you are evolving and changing as a designer. I keep mine. I still have mine from college. My career goals, my personal goals. And I pull them out every once or twice a year or so. I read through them, and I just kind of look at where I'm at now as compared to where I was then. And it's just a fascinating thing. I think it's a really good exercise periodically. Okay, enough on 1 and 2. Now assignment 1. Assignment 3, this is where you start deciding what you are going to put in your portfolio. This is really important because in order for me to be able to look at what you're putting in your portfolio, your submitting for approval, let's say, I won't know what it is unless it's labeled correctly. So I won't know how to respond. So I guess I'm saying this because if it's not labeled correctly, my only response is, can you please repost and label correctly? That way I'll know what I'm looking at. I'll know how to respond. Okay. So for example, you have, your, PDF document present all design projects I think you are a candidate for inclusion in a portfolio. Sort them into the following groups based on this week's lecture, determining and defining your work. That was that thing we looked at before, right? So you have design applications. You will have 5 collateral design projects. Okay, I want you to name everything by the blue title right here, and that'll be in the written announcement to make it really easy. But this will be your main title. Okay, so for example, this design applications requirement requires 5 collateral design projects. So in order for me to know what I'm looking at, you'll have to label those. Well, I'll just go through the first 5 just for convenience. So the first one would be labeled Design Applications Poster. The second one would be Design Applications Book Cover. The third one, Design Applications Brochure, and so on and so forth. Okay, next, the next section would be labeled Thumbnails Process Book, and this would be the information in that. The next section is Advertising Campaign. This would be your candidate pieces in that. Corporate Identity, Web Design. Now keep in mind, everything that has more than one choice, you're going to have to put this in twice, okay? So in other words, you say Corporate Identity, Signage, Wayfinding, Environment, Graphics. The next page would say Corporate Identity, Website. The next page would say Corporate Identity Style Guide. Okay, so I know exactly what I'm looking at and in what category it belongs. Okay, and please understand the importance of this because otherwise, like I said, I just don't know what I'm looking at, okay? I'm pushing 8 minutes here, so I kind of want to cut it short. But if you guys have any questions whatsoever, please get with me. I'm open policy, man. I'm open door. So my main interest here is for you guys to succeed. And I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to take some effort. The portfolio is very, very, very involved, okay? So I'm here to help you. I have open door policy. Please reach out if you have any questions at all. Okay, guys, I want to cut it short. Wanted to keep this under 7 minutes or so, but I'm kind of a windbag, so I apologize for that. Any questions, comments, concerns, or anything else, please feel free to contact me. Thanks, everyone.